Abduction, Chapter 35, Part 1. While I drove back into the city, all three of us were silent. Each of us had a lot to contemplate about. Our close encounter of the fourth kind would forever be etched into our consciousness and our subconscious. My friends may not have been awake during the entire episode, but I'm sure parts of it would pop up in their dreams and daydreams. I, for one, was not going to forget those dark alien eyes that resembled looking into the abyss. There was no telling what was behind those large orbs. The fact that they did not understand human emotions should not have surprised me, but it did. I think as humans we assume all life forms have some sort of emotions. The animals on Earth exhibit some emotions, even though most of their actions are instinctual. They do, however, show fear and love. This much I am sure about animals' feelings. Contemplating where aliens lost their ability to have emotions was beyond my reasoning capabilities. I was not a scientist. I was an artist and businessman. Those two things I understood required that I feel and understand the emotions of people and myself. The street lights were getting brighter and taller buildings were coming into view. I pushed back against the foreboding that wanted me to quit and go home to Echo. It was the same fight or flight feeling I had in Belarus. This was the same scenario. A person's life was at stake, and I was in a position to do something about it. I couldn't leave them to their fate of being kidnapped and held for ransom, or worse, being sold into sex trafficking. "Left turn up ahead," commanded Valeri. "It will be quicker to get to the castle, and I know of a place where we can charge our phones." "What?" asked John. I too was confused by Valeri's comment. Getting our phones operational was the last thing on my mind. "We'll need our phones after the rescue," murmured Valeri. "You will have to call your girlfriends, and I will have to call Maxim to let him know we have found Natasha." "I agree, but do you think Maxim will be out of police custody?" I asked, as I followed Valeri's directions and turned left on the next street. "Valeri has many resources and connections. He also has connections within the police department. The police chief is his brother-in-law," laughed Valeri. "So, do not worry. Maxim will answer my phone call." "Then why didn't Maxim call the police when Natasha was first missing?" asked John. "Maxim does not abuse his connections," answered Valeri, while looking back at John, while he is again perched between the two front bucket seats. "He wants to be certain that Natasha did not go on holiday and told him about it, and he forgot." "I thought you said Natasha never did something like that," I murmured. Valeri shrugged. "There is a first time for everything, and with girls, you never know. They can do unexpected things because they feel it's the right thing to do." That was Valeri's opinion of women. He must have had one hell of a dating experience with the women of Ukraine, and the same for Maxim, for that matter. In the distance, I saw the shape of the castle wall. It was only the second time I had seen Lubart's castle, and was still impressive with its 12-meter-tall walls. "Wow!" exclaimed John. "That is some castle. I'm going to have to come back and see it in the daylight." Valeri smiled upon hearing John's interest. "Ukraine is a great country. You should spend more time here. Maybe I can convince Maxim to give me time off to be a tour guide for you." "I would appreciate that," answered John, and returned Valeri's warm smile. "There," said Valeri, while pointing to a cafe. "Stop there. I can get our phones charged there." I pulled the car over to the curb and handed my phone over to Valeri. John did the same. "Go to the castle and find Natasha," said Valeri. "I will meet you there. It will take a few minutes to bargain with the co-workers in the cafe. Go. Don't wait for me." Valeri got out of the car, and John quickly got out into the front seat. The rest of the drive to Lubart's castle was not that far, but it would take Valeri 10 minutes to catch up with us. "Do you trust Valeri?" asked John as I drove away from the cafe. "Do you mean, do I think he will take off with our phones?" "No, I mean, do you trust him not to bail on us?" I didn't hesitate to answer. "Yes, I trust Valeri. He's been good to me since the first day I met him. He has been genuine the entire time I've been in Lutsk. You don't suspect me of being part of Natasha's disappearance?" "I'm going to go on your word, Richard," replied John. "If you trust him, then so do I. He strikes me as genuine as well. It's just that after being in business as long as we have, there always seems to be a catch. Do you know what I mean? You don't meet people like Valeri very often in life." "Yes, I know what you mean," I replied as we reached the castle. Security lights reflected against most of the castle's walls. I had no idea how John and I were going to get inside. I drove a little farther until I found parking in an open space. It was the only one available, and we would have to walk a little way to get to the front of the castle. In fact, where I pulled the car over to park was the same street that Ivanovna met her ride after I met with her. "What are your gut's feelings?" asked John. I looked out at the castle through the window and searched my feelings. "Natasha's inside somewhere. Don't ask me how I know, but Natasha's inside the castle." "All right then," said John. "Let's go find her." I kept my eyes on the castle and took in the grandeur of the structure. Not only the walls, but also the turrets. I was in awe. "Let's go up to the front gate," I said. From what I read about the castle and its history, Prince Lubart kept the girl in the very tower until she agreed to marry him. "What happened to the girl?" asked John. "She didn't agree, so the prince let his men do whatever they wanted to the girl, and when they were through with her, they dumped her body in the river." "That's gruesome," said John. "Let's not have that ending here." "Agreed," I said. The moment I stepped out of the car, I was hit by the cold Ukrainian night air. When Valeri got out of the car at a cafe, I felt the cold, but not like this. It was damn freezing, and was about to go searching for an opening in a 14th century castle. I was indeed a crazed person on a mission.